President Biden met today with Fed Chairman Jerome Powell and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen to talk about inflation as prices of gas and food and housing continue to skyrocket and voter satisfaction sinks. Last hour, I spoke to the chair of the White House Council of Economic Advisors, who says that they're optimistic.
What we understood about inflation at the time was that it was tied to the pandemic. We are still in the midst of this pandemic. The Russia's war on Ukraine disabled not only gas prices and food prices, but also disrupted supply chains. We didn't foresee Delta, we didn't foresee Omicron. And so, yes, there have been unexpected challenges which have disrupted the natural getting us back to equilibrium, which would help bring down those prices.
A new poll shows 46% of Americans think economic conditions are poor, and the government is not doing enough to fight inflation. Joining us now is Robert Reich. He served as Labor Secretary under President Clinton and is now the Chancellor's Professor of Public Policy at UC Berkeley. He's also the author of The System, Who Rigged It, How We Fix It. Secretary Reich, thanks so much for being here. Before we get to how to fix it and solutions, let's just talk about how we got here, because there were various times during 2021 that President Biden and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and the head of the Fed, Jerome Powell, downplayed inflation. So let me just give you one example from Jerome Powell.
I really do not expect that we'll be in a situation where inflation rises to troubling levels.
Okay, so that was wrong. That was February of 2021. Did they miss warning signs?
Well, it's easy to say in hindsight, Allison, that they missed warning signs, but I think the consensus among economists, people who were analyzing the economy, was that actually the inflation we saw back then, 3, 4, 5 months ago, was mostly pent-up demand from years of pandemic, combined with supply shocks, all around the world. Those are still big issues. And there's a good reason to think that inflation may have peaked, may be coming down, but undoubtedly they were a little bit optimistic.
So the president, his op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, talked about his 3-point plan. And I spoke with Cecilia Rouse trying to figure out what is the action behind this plan. But short of legislation, and we know the reality of 60 votes to pass anything and Democrats changing the filibuster, beyond let the Fed handle it, how much of a plan can a White House actually execute to slow inflation?
Well, probably not all that much, Victor. But if you look at the big oil companies, for example, ExxonMobil, net profits of $5.5 billion, more than double from a year ago. Shell, the biggest profits ever. Chevron, the highest profits in a decade. These oil companies are raking it in while consumers are paying more than ever at the pump. I think there is an argument here for a windfall profits tax on the oil companies at the very least. And that, incidentally, that's what the conservative government in Britain just instituted last Thursday.
So Secretary, what's more to blame? The pent-up demand and all the other factors for inflation, or corporate greed, as you've spelled out?
Well, it's all of the above, Allison. I think it's probably more pent-up demand and supply shocks, but undoubtedly, big corporations are taking advantage of inflation as a cover to increase their profits. And it's not just oil companies. Also, you have food companies. There are 4 major food processors in America, including Tyson Foods. They are making huge record profits. And what are they doing? They're increasing their prices. They are saying, well, we can't help it because of inflation. They can help it. The real issue for them, like the oil companies, is that they don't have very much competition. And without much competition, they have free rein to increase their prices.
So we've had members of the administration, I mentioned Cecilia Rouse, Jared Bernstein, also on Brian Deese on the network today. They're available everywhere. But the polls show that despite the PR push, the American people are dissatisfied. Only 14% say that the economy now is good or excellent. 46% say that it's poor. If gas stays at $4.60, how much can a PR push accomplish?
Well, I think a PR push cannot accomplish all that much. It's important the administration get arguments out there and make sure people know that job growth has been steady and increasing and very good. It's important that the administration get all the good news out there that is possible. But in the end, there is not a huge amount that any administration can do. This is why I've been pushing a windfall profits tax, because if even the conservatives in Britain can pass a windfall profits tax, and oil companies especially, it seems to me it's egregious, it's outrageous how much they are charging, well over $4 a gallon, while they are making record profits. I mean, an administration should be, and it's easy to say this. I'm not in the administration, but the Biden administration should be reaching out to Republicans right now and saying this is outrageous, and no consumers ought to be paying this amount of money while the oil companies rake it in. And therefore, please join us in a windfall profits tax, and the receipts will be distributed to people who desperately need it, who are paying really a huge percentage of their incomes for gas, as it should be distributed for a lot of other things like food.
Do you think the Biden administration will take your advice on that tax?
No, Allison, I don't think so. Although maybe it will. I mean, again, I'm impressed by the fact that inflation is around the world. This is just a United States problem. And you have very large companies that are taking advantage of this inflation all over the world. Oil companies kind of leading the pack. And if you have countries like Britain who are instituting a windfall profits tax and then using the money to help consumers get through all of this, well, that's a tremendous kind of measure. It's an important measure, and the United States should take heed.